Now in step 1, we're going to apply the vertical transformations to both the midline and the top and bottom line. And since we are going to apply vertical transformations, we're going to need to list the transformations. And so if you need to, you may want to write down what the parent is. The parent is f of t equals cosine of t. In these problems, the parent will always be either cosine t or sine t. And then you may want to rewrite our function in terms of f of t, so cosine of t plus pi over 2. That's negative f of t plus pi over 2. And all of this is so we can identify the vertical transformations. So the vertical transformations, in this problem, there's only one. There's a vertical reflection about the x-axis. Now remember, a vertical reflection about the x-axis, that takes all the y values and multiplies them by -1. So the way that we'll find our new midline, or that is the midline for our transformed function, is we'll take the midline for the parent, which is the y value of 0, and multiply by -1. And we would get 0 times -1, which again is 0. To get our top and bottom lines, we'll take the top / bottom lines, which are +1 and -1, and multiply by -1. So we would have +1 times -1, +1, not plus sign, so +1 times -1, which is -1, and -1 times -1, which is +1. So our midline is going to be 0, and our top and bottom lines are going to be plus and -1. And so this reflection, this vertical transformation did not change the midline, and it did not change the top and bottom lines. We'll see how it changes the graph of the function when we go to graph it. But I think it's a good idea as we go along to sketch the important things about the graphs. That is, we've figured out the midline and the top and bottom line. Let's go ahead and put them on the graph. So here's a blank sheet. Let's give ourselves some axes. We have t and y here, and let's create a scaling. Let's call this 1, and let's call this -1. And now we know where our midline and our top and bottom line are, so I'm going to go ahead and fill those in. So there's the top line. Looks like I was a little off there. Let's see if I can't fix that. There we go. Our bottom line is down here, and our midline is right here. And we can actually say right now how our reflection is going to affect our graph. We're graphing a cosine function, a transformation of a cosine function. And it has a vertical reflection, which means normally when we start a cosine function, we start up top. If you go back and look at the start of our cosine function here, then we started up top. But since we have a vertical reflection about the x-axis, we'll instead start at the bottom for our transformed cosine function. Then we'll go to the middle, then we'll go to the top, then back to the middle and back to the bottom. Of course, we don't know the x values yet to put these points at, but that's what we'll do. And for contrast, I will show you how you would graph it if there was not a negative in front of the cosine transformation as well.